Welcome back to the shop end of the channel. I'm going to try to make some more progress on this mount for the wheel dressers. Got all the holes drilled that I believe I'm going to need. And now it's time to start whittling away the parts of the block here that I don't want. Here's an old version of it, but you can see I need to get rid of quite a bit of material. So we'll get this removed here from the base of the drill grinder and get it over onto the Bridgeport and start making some more chips. Well, I guess it doesn't really matter which part I start with, but I do know that I want to machine out the spots where the pivot arms will be. So we'll start with this one here on the back. Set this up vertically in the vise. This has me honestly a little bit nervous, I guess. Just I'm concerned about rigidity here. I think this will be pretty rigid, and no reason to believe that that's not going to be square. I think I am going to put a parallel down here though, just to give it something to rest on that I know is good and flat. Make sure there's nothing on here. It's not a super precision part, of course, but I want to try to maintain the surface finish as best I can anyway. Okay, that should be good. Now my lower left corner is still down here, so I know my dimensions are going to come from at least this side for this part. The distance between what I need to take out is 1 3/4 of an inch. I want this to be really, really close to that 1.75 inches, so I'm probably going to get some gauge blocks and get those set up so when I start making final passes, I know where I'm at. As far as the depth of this is concerned, I don't have anything actually marked out. I do, but it's from the bottom, which I can't really get to. But I know how deep this should be, and it's not a critical dimension. So I might just go to my lines and call it good. Next I need to get an end mill in here. I need to find something that's going to hog out a bunch of material. See what I can find over here in the tool drawer. I want to start here by finding this left edge. Alright, that's my left edge. Now, I looked for some different options I could use for end mills to try to do this milling. Most of what I have is, secondhand. I have no idea of its sharpness, but I found this 2-flute high-speed steel end mill, 5/8 inch. And it feels like it's fairly sharp, maybe. I'm going to be side cutting anyway, so we're going to give this a try. Now if I bring this over to my 0 here, that's about my 0. It should be centered over it. This is 5/8, so half of that would be 0.3125. So if I want to put this edge here over the left edge of the cutter onto the left edge, I need to set my DRO to minus 312.5. So if I bring it back now to 0, my cutter should be right on the edge, and it looks pretty daggone close. I know my numbers here. According to my chart, I need to come over 1.79 inches, put that left edge about 1.79 inches. I'm going to switch the DRO over to incremental mode and 0 my X. So that should be left edge. Now if I come over 1.75 inches, that should be left edge there, but I need to go back 625. So that'll take it down to 1.125, right? Which should put my right edge right where it needs to be. Yeah, it looks pretty good. So in my incremental, I need to go from 0 to 1.125. I'm not going to start there. I think what we'll do is we'll start at 20 thousandths from the right edge. Let's make it 25 so we can do round numbers on the other one. So we'll go to 0.025 down to 1.1 inches. That should give me 25 thousandths on each side to clean up. Yeah, I don't know what kind of coolant I'm going to need for this. I don't have any mist coolant or flood coolant for this machine yet. I'd like to get there, but I'm not there yet. Eventually, I'd like to get something like a Cool Mist or a Noga Mini Cool. All right, I'm going to need to move the camera just a little bit to get to the knee crank because I need to come down about 1.5 inches. I'll bring the quill down so just before it touches, I'm going to lock the quill. And we're going to bring this down to about 600 or so RPM. Okay, I'm going to 0 my Z-axis. And this is not precision, so I'm not worried about that being a little bit off. Let's see, how much do I want to cut at first? Let's do 25 thousandths because it's kind of the number we've been playing with. Okay. Raising a bit of a burr. I don't know, maybe this cutter is not super sharp. That was 25 thousandths. That didn't have any problems. So let's take it up to 50 thousandths depth of cut here. It's not a bad looking chip. Okay, 1.68. 1.69, that's about what I was expecting. Alright, we're going to keep going with that. So that was a 50 thousandths depth of cut. So let's take it to 75 thousandths depth of cut. No rush. I think I might put some oil on this, just as a little bit of cutting fluid, coolant. Just don't, it's going to get smoky in here. I do need to get some kind of a mist coolant. Okay, that was 75 thousandths depth of cut. Let's try 100. End mill still looks good. No discoloration. So it looks like 100 thousandths is not a bad depth of cut here. We'll keep going with that. We're at 450 thousandths now total depth. Doing 100 thousandths depth of cut each time. Okay, we're at 950 thousandths total depth, according to the DRO. Okay, we're up at 1 inch 100 thousandths. Doing some math, it looks like I need to do a total depth here of 1 inch 125 thousandths. So after this, I'll have 25 thousandths to take off of the total depth. Not a terrible surface finish, but it ain't great either. Alright, well, this end mill is just barely long enough that I can mill the sides now. So I'm going to move the table over 10 thousandths and clean up this edge, and we'll do the same over here, and then we'll take a measurement. I don't think it really fully cleaned up both sides here. Probably should have left myself a little bit more than 10,000 or 25 thousandths on this. The finish on this side is much better than the finish on this side. There's actually some really rough spots on here. I don't know how well that comes across on camera, but that is not very good at all. This side doesn't suck, but it really isn't that good either. Truth is, the dimensions of this are not critical. I'll make the mating part to match, but man, I really want that side to clean up. So I think I'm going to do that now. I need to leave myself a lot more than 25 thousandths. I think for the next one, I'm going to probably leave something more like 50 thousandths on each side and give me something to work toward. So we'll see if this will clean up that inside edge. I'm hoping. I'm not optimistic. You know, the question's always, should I be climb cutting for these finished cuts or conventional milling? I'm conventionally milling now. Well, you know, that might be enough. That's actually pretty clean. So if I climb mill the other direction without changing anything, what is that going to do to the finish? Yeah, that's not too bad. Actually, it's really nice. I don't hate that at all. Okay. I need to go ahead and finish off this side. Deburr that edge just a little bit. Got a 1 inch and a 3/4 inch gauge block. Okay. That's not going in there, which I expected. According to these, I'm at 1.73, so I have a little less than 20 thousandths to go. Check this again. Yeah, close enough. Here we're at 1.736, so 14 thousandths or so to go. It's close. It's really close. I want to get it closer. This is another thousandths and a half maybe. Climb cutting. Do I need to get it this close? Absolutely not. But I think it's good practice, if nothing else. Okay, there we go. That is just barely fitting in there. A little looser in the middle, which I kind of expected because of where that bore is. But that is right where I want it to be. Okay, reamer fits through. Maybe that was enough to deburr it. Oh, it fits in there still. I'm going to make the part however big it needs to be, and the mating part in here is not going to be, you know, perfect exact fit, but I do want the mate to not have any play in it, right? So I only want maybe a thousandths, because if this is sloppy, then I get a sloppy dress on the wheel, and that's not good. So I need a better way of measuring that. So I think what I'm going to do is grab my telescoping gauges. Let's see, is this one? Okay, that's a good size. And a 0 to 2 micrometer. And let's see if I can measure this. Okay, it looks like, according to this, I'm about 2 thousandths under, which might make sense if the gauge blocks are not fitting in. Okay, this is about, according to this, 1/1000 over. So either tool pressure or internal stresses or something has kind of bowed this out, maybe. At least that's my thought. So the question is, what do I do about it? Do I leave it go? I'm inclined to leave it go. And then when it comes down to making the mating part, I'll just make sure that it fits. But for now, I think this is done, or this piece is done. I still need to rotate it 90 degrees and do the front one. I'm going to do that off camera. You've seen enough of this. I'll bring you back when I have both of these now machined. Alright, I got that machining finished on the other end. This one's a little bit deeper. Let's go down about 1.5 inches. It's actually a little bit shorter than what I intended it to be. But my end mill was only going to give me 1.5 inches deep anyway, so I don't think I'm going to need the other 90 thousandths that I have on my diagram, but I suppose if I do, for clearance, I'll figure that out. Well, the next thing I need to do is whittle away this extra stuff here on the front here in this corner. This is purely aesthetic, but I want to do it anyway, just so it matches up a little bit better with the base on the drill grinder. I've got a 1/2 inch 2-flute end mill here that should be good for getting that internal radius. The outside radii here, I've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 corners that have a, what do you want to call this? Chamfer? I don't know, it's not a chamfer. I don't know what you would call that. Anyway, I'm debating on whether or not I'm going to go through any effort to recreate that. I wish I had a nice belt grinder that I could put some different grip belts on, but I don't. And that would be probably the easiest way to do it. I do have this radius cutter that I could use as well. It's a 1/2 inch. I did some experimenting with it earlier, and you know, it did okay-ish on this test piece, but it did leave it a bit rougher than I would like. I'm sure I could file it and make it a little bit cleaner. So I'm undecided on whether or not I'm going to go that far. I probably will, just because I like the look of the radius. I plan on painting this thing, you know, sort of a blue-gray color. I'm going to try to match what's on the drill grinder. I know I won't match it exactly, but I'm going to paint it anyway. So if I don't get it perfect, if I sand it, use a little sandpaper, a little bit of filing, maybe I can make it work. All right, well, let's get this thing set up in the vise. I'm going to set it up so it's hanging over so I can go all the way through with the end mill, be able to get all the edges. I think I'll plunge cut first, try to get rid of the bulk of it, and then do some cleanups rather than try to mill the whole thing away 100 thousandths at a time. This clamped up. I'm a little worried about this deflecting, so before I put any real gronk on this, don't have like a machinist jack that would be big enough to fit in here, but I think I can get away with just this cap screw and a couple of nuts. Just need something kind of back up on that, just so we don't get too much deflection. Use the jam nut here to make sure it doesn't back itself off too easily. Well, unfortunately, I did not catch it on video, but that's what happened to my end mill. So my original plan is defeated. We're going to use this corncob style end mill here. So I need to go about 2 inches deep. We will rough this out, and I think we'll just use the knee to come up. We'll go 100 thousandths to start, just to see how that does. I'm sure I can go more. Matter of fact, we'll go to 150. I'm sure with this end mill I can take that. I'll get this roughed out, and then I'll come back with a different end mill to finish it off. Probably could have used this for the other operation. Is that even in focus? Yeah. Sorry if that was out of focus. This will come up another 300 thousandths. Or 150 thousandths rather. I'm wondering if that might be too much, if I should take it back down to 100 thousandths. The chips don't look bad, but I'm worried about the end mill. Let's just go 100 thousandths and see if it seems to perform okay still. I'm sure it will, but looking at the colors of the chips. I don't know if that really made much of a difference. Everything's still pretty daggone hot. We'll say that. It's hot. I'm not seeing anything glowing. So that's good. I'm going to go back to 150 thousandths here. And that is hot. It's got me a little bit worried. We'll go back to 100 thousandths here. And I think I am going to see if I can't keep the air on this. Well, it might be helping. I don't know. Actually, I don't even know if it's helping, but it is throwing chips everywhere because of the air now. So, I don't know which one's worse. Let me slow it down just a little bit. It's definitely generating some heat. Okay, we're at 1 inch depth now. We have a total of about probably half of an inch to go yet. This is definitely where one of those mist coolers would come in handy. I should just buy one. Just can't, I don't know. The cool mist ones, they're just so daggone expensive. It's hard for me to shell out that kind of money, so it's why I've been putting it off and putting it off. It's not only that, but I have some concerns about, that mist in the air and breathing it in. I mean, does that mean whenever I use mist coolant, I'm going to have to wear a respirator? That would be mildly inconvenient. I mean, I'd rather do that than breathe it in, but then that kind of makes it difficult to make these videos. Yeah, I believe I'm about 180 thousandths away here. So we'll come up another 100 thousandths. I don't want to take it all, because I'm worried that this chunk will go flying and end up breaking the end mill. So alright, so I'm going to come up now. My 80 thousandths number is correct, which I think it is. We're going to come up 60 thousandths. I'm still taking it slow. You can hear that piece is rattling a bit. Alright, now what I think I want to do is go the rest of the way here, but only on the long edge. I think maybe I'll try to break off the short edge if it doesn't break off for me. Maybe I can grab that with some pliers. This is probably a dumb idea, but I'm going to try it anyway. Alright. I'm going to let that cool off for a little bit, and then I'm going to find another end mill that I can use to clean up this edge. Alright, I have another 1/2 inch end mill in here, so 4 flute. This one's not long enough to reach the whole dimension here, but I think I can do this in a couple of passes. I'm going to put some oil on here anyway. Didn't quite clean it up. Yeah, that looks really good. Alright, so now we'll come in the rest of the way. Yeah, I'm pretty happy with that surface finish. Alright, now I need to clean this off. I need to rotate this now so I can go ahead and do the same machining operation for the other corner. Alright, I got this turned around. I got everything zeroed in. Got my DRO set up. I did put a machinist jack over here on this side just to balance out this. I still have my clamp in here. This is just going to add some rigidity here. I think we'll be okay. So same dance. I'm going to go ahead and set you up here. We'll go ahead and get this knocked out. Okay, that went as good as the first one. I think it's a decent surface finish. Yeah, I like it. All right, let's get this unclamped, get it deburred. Then I have to decide, am I gonna put those curves on there? Man, it would look so nice with those curves, wouldn't it? Or I screw it up. I don't know, what do you think? Put a comment down below. I've already done it by the time I read your comment, but put a comment down below. Let me know. Should I go for it? All right, I'll be back. Well, I'm going to give it a try. Now, these two corners are on the inside. They're actually kind of hidden by the wheel guard. So I chose these two because if this ends up looking like a dog's dinner, then they'll be kind of hidden. So I won't worry about it too much. Yeah, I think I'm going to give this a try. This should be fairly straightforward. Okay, that's 300 RPM. I think it's just barely touching it right there. Might as well give it a little bit of lubricant here. We're going to come in. We'll start with 25 thousandths. That didn't have much of a cut. That's fine. Let's go another 25 thousandths. Not too bad. Let's go another 25 thousandths. I don't know if it's got a little bit more to go or not. It doesn't look completely like crap, but it's kind of close. We're going to go a little bit deeper. Let's see what this one looks like. Yeah, I can definitely go further. Probably about 50 thousandths. Might be hard for you to see that from that angle. I can probably raise the table some too, I think. Really taking a bite now. But I think it just did what I was afraid it was going to do. It did. Oh boy, I was afraid of that. Because I went in so far, it's now left a lip there, which is ugly. So I went too far. But I'm wondering if the table needs to come up some because that transition right here doesn't look great. Let's try bringing up the table. I think that's 20 thousandths higher than where I started, which means my touch off was pretty poor, because I think that's where I want to be. That looks like a pretty good transition there. That looks like a pretty good transition there. Now I could come back and skim off that front. I think I will. I think I'll get an end mill and clean that up. But yeah, I like that. I think I'm going to go ahead. It's going to take a long time to do all this, but I think I'll do that off camera. But I think I'm going to spend a little time and make it look pretty. So give me a bit and I'll bring you back. Well, here's the finished base. I think it came out pretty good. I did smooth these outside radii here with the sanding wheel. I did have one little oopsie over here. Went a little bit too deep. You can see here I went a little bit too deep. Oh well, that's just going to have to be there. I did end up touching up the surface on the surface grinder. As nice of a finish as the shaper left. Yeah, I kind of wanted to make it maybe just a touch nicer. I'm still thinking I'm going to paint this. That might have all been for naught. We'll see. But get it mounted up here. I'm not going to press the pins in just yet because I am sure this thing will need to come off of here again repeatedly. Mostly because I'm still going to need to set the set screws here for those pivot pins. So this is all likely going to have to get assembled together for final assembly and then placed in as one unit, which shouldn't be an issue. There should be plenty of room to do that. But yeah, I think this came out really nice. I'm actually pleased with how well this turned out. So the next step is going to be machining the pivot pins for the front and the back. Now the one in the back is just a simple straight through pin. The one in the front actually needs to extend out in order to mate up with that lever mechanism here. So I'll have to get these pins machined next, and then I can start machining on the actual dressers. I have plenty of scrap material that I can use for all of this. So far I haven't actually had to purchase anything. I even had these diamond nibs that I got when I bought a toolbox full of machinist tools. This happened to be in it. So I'm getting closer. These pieces here will be made up of 3 pieces. The dresser arms themselves will get made up of 3 pieces, and this will end up being a weldment. It's going to be a little bit tricky because, you know, this is going to be a threaded recess here for the actual diamond nib to go in, and a little worried about distortion once I start welding it, but I think I'll be able to tackle that. I've got a tap that'll fit that. So making lots of progress. I hope you enjoyed the video. I hope you enjoyed all the machining that went into this. It was, you know, some of it took a little bit of effort to figure out. If you liked the video, give it a thumbs up. Leave a comment down below. Let me know what you think. Would you have radiused this? I'm glad I did. Besides that little oopsie there, but what are you going to do? I enjoyed this. This was a fun project. It took a while because taking things slow. I'm still learning. So I do appreciate your input. If you have some constructive criticism to add, please throw it down into the comments. Don't forget to subscribe if you're not a subscriber. If you'd like to support the channel in other ways, there's links down in the description below. That's it for this one. Thanks for watching. We'll see you on the next one.